Hey, I'm Bob. Welcome back to Golf League Tracker. In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up your league to award points based on the finish of each player. So, for example, 20 points for first, 15 for second, 10 for third, and so on. There's a couple different options that you can do. You can pay out a fixed amount of points for each place, or you can pay out a percentage of the total pot. And the total pot is based on how many players are playing for that week. So, for example, if each player is worth 5 points and you have 16 players in the league, there would be 80 points distributed for that week. There's also an option to determine how ties are handled. So let's jump into it and I'll show you how to get started. So we are going to go to League Setup and League Settings and change League Settings. And from our setting category drop down, choose stroke play points versus the field. And that will make it easier to find the settings you need. So you can pay out points for net score, gross score, or both. If you're a team league, you can pay out points on a per player basis or for a team total score basis. This is an individual player league, so we don't see the team points here, but it works exactly the same. So the first thing I'm going to do is set up probably the most common scenario where we have a fixed amount of points that we're going to pay out, and we're going to set setting number 162, stroke play distribution against the field with the net score. And to enter the points, we're just going to type in the point distribution for each position. So I'm going to do 20, 15, 10, 8, and 6 and hit save. And then for the tie type, we're going to split. And I'll show you what that looks like, either splitting the points or awarding the full points. So I already have 3 weeks of scores entered for this league. We'll go to Weekly Admin, enter scores and points. And when you record points, what record points does, it locks in the points for that week. And that way, if you go and change your point system later or in the middle of the season or for another round, it does not affect the point already won for the season. So you would go in here and record all points, and you have to make sure that you have all the points or all the scores entered for the week before you record all points. Because if you go and enter half the scores and then record points, and then the other half of scores and don't record all the points, the system has no idea who came in first, second, or third until all the scores are entered in this type of format. I'm not going to record points for this league in this demo just to save time, but I just wanted you to make sure that you go in and record all the points after all the scores are entered. What we are going to do is look at stats, stroke play results by round. And I'm going to go to round 1. And so what we see is the top 5 positions paid out. We'll see there's no ties. And the 20, 15, 10, 8, and 6 points are distributed as we indicated in our settings. If we look at my example in round 2, we'll see that there's a tie for first place at net 27. So when we're splitting the points, what it does, it adds up the points for that position, those 2 positions, which is 20 and 15 is 35 points. And it's going to average those points for the 2 players that tied. So 17 and a half each, and then 10, 8, and 6. So when points are split, the same number of points are distributed regardless of how many ties there are. And if we look at round number 3, we'll see first, second, and third, there's no ties. But fourth and fifth, there's a tie. And so 8 and 6 points is 7 each. And so 8 and 6 is 14. So the 2 players get 7 points each. Okay, pretty simple. Let's go in and show you how to do full points. We'll go to League Setup, League Settings, change League Settings. And so we're going to change stroke play tie type. We're going to change this to full points. And we're going to look at the same reports. Stroke play results by round. I'm going to start with round 1 again. And because there's no ties, it's no different. 20, 15, 10, 8, and 6, as expected. Now, if we look at round 2, if you remember, first and second were tied for first. or two, I should say, two players are tied for first. So instead of splitting the points, they're going to be awarded 20 points each, and then the next position is considered second place. So Ramon, in this case, was considered in third place previously, but now he is in second. He gets second place points, and then 10, 8, and 6. And 6 points, there's a number of players tied for fifth place, and so each one of them gets 6 points. So you'll notice if you added these up, it's distributing far more points than we had before because of the stroke play tie rule that we have set. And then if we look at round 3, same kind of deal, 20, 10, 20, same kind of deal, 20, 15, 10, and then fourth place is tied. Each one of those players gets 8, and fifth place gets 6 points. So previously, this player, me, did not get any points because I was out of the top 5. But when we're playing full points, it extends how many players are getting paid out if there are ties. Okay, so now we're going to look at changing this so that we're paying out based on a percentage. And so the first thing I'm going to do is change setting number 162 to pay out a percentage of points. And instead of this distribution, we're going to type in 40, 30, 20, and 10. So this adds up to 100%. And we'll hit save. And we are going to change now setting number 165. This is how many points each player is worth. So I'm going to put this at 5. So when this value is greater than 0, the system now knows that we're paying out a percentage. So it knows this distribution is a percentage instead of a fixed amount. So now if we go back to stats, stroke play results by round, and go back to round 1. So we have 16 players in this round, and they're each worth 5, so that's a total of 80 points. And then our percentage is paid out based on that 80 points. So first place was 40%, which is a total of 32. Second is 30%, total of 24. 20% of 80 is 16. 10% of 80 is 8. Now, before we look at round 2, let's go back and change our settings for the tie type. And I'm going to change that to split. And now let's go to stats, stroke play results by round, second place, or second week. And again, we have 16 players. First place pays 40%, second place pays 30%. So that would be 32 points and 24 points. But since there's a tie, we are awarding each player 28 points. And then third is 16, and fourth is 8. Another way you can think of this is 40% and 30%. The average of that is 35%, and 35% of the pot is 28 points each. The math works out the same, of course. And then round 3, a little bit different in this case because I only entered 14 players. We had 2 players that were absent. So when you're paying out a percentage, it's based on how many players are playing. So 5 times 14 is 70 points that we're handing out. So 40% of 70 is 28. 30% is 21. 20% is 14. And then again, we have a tie, 10% with 3.5 points each. Okay, so 2 different ways to award points. I could go through and change this to a full point measure for our ties, and the effect would be the same as I showed you in the first example. So I hope that helps and explains how to award points based on a player's finish. If you have any questions, give me a shout at support@golfleaguetracker.com. Have a great day. See ya.